So if you want to know how Metro Boomin makes crazy beats from scratch in the style of Offset and Future, this is the perfect video for you. Yo guys, what's up and welcome to another video. Today I'm going to show you how Metro Boomin makes crazy samples in the style of Future and Offset, like dark ethnic samples. So first of all, I'm going to show you all the sample, then after that I will show you how I made the sample, so break down every single pattern and every single phrase I used. Then while showing you all these patterns and phrases, I will show you how I mix them and how I like process them to make them sound how they are. And after that I will show you my mastering chain and then show you all the finished beat, or like how I made the beat and how I built like the drum patterns. And please keep in mind that my Starstruck multi-kit is out now. The link for that is in the description, and make sure to use code STARSTRUCK if you want to get $5 off. I would really appreciate that. It has over 500 sounds for y'all to get better at making beats and samples. So yeah, I would really appreciate that. Make sure to check out the links in the description. Make sure to follow me on IG and to leave a like and to subscribe to this channel. And please make sure to leave a comment. It would really mean a lot, and it would really help me. And I don't want to keep the intro too long, so yeah guys, let's go. So I started off with this hack tape synth, which was tuned to F, but like first of all I played with the SMP start just that it like sounds good. Then I put the mode to stretch and I went to the envelope, and as you can see I played a little bit with the attack because there was like these clicking sounds, so I just removed them with this attack setting. Then I put the hold on 100%, the sustain to 39 and the release to 24, so it doesn't play all the way through. Then I turned this right here to the F note. As you can see right here, the root note is F because the synth was on F, so now it's tuned to C and is in key. So when I lay something down, it always sounds like it always is in key. And I laid down this pretty simple pattern, which as you can see starts on a root note of C, like on a C5, but then I just pasted it up and went to a C6, and I laid down this D sharp 6 and then this C7 just to make like a whole chord, and then switch it up right here and then have a C right there again. So as I said, it's like really simple. And then I just copied it over the whole time besides right here, because I added like a simple counter melody which contains this D sharp, D, D sharp and G, and then transitions into an F, D sharp, D, and then again the same thing. So it's a really simple pattern. And as you can see, I copied the C, the root note, over for the whole sample, or like the whole 8 bars, and I randomized the velocities, which you can do with Alt and R, just that it sounds like a little bit more like natural and self-played, since it's not. And that's all I did for this pattern. It's really simple, and the finished tape synth pattern is something like this. Then for the effects on there, I have this Valhalla vintage verb where I tweak the mix, the decay and the low cut. Then this simple soothe on its default settings. I just turned this setting from soft to hard and left everything else on its default settings, as I said. Then this simple EQ where I just ducked a lot of frequencies and like cut out some of the frequencies that I didn't really like. And I cut out a lot of the lows, or like most of the lows, because I had a bassline as well, so the bass doesn't clash with the tape synth. And that's all I did for this pattern, or like that's the mixing chain for this pattern. And now let's go on to the next thing. Then for the next thing, as you can see right here, I have a flute phrase from Splice, and I pitch it up by 3 just to get it into the key of C. Then put the declicking mode to generic, the mode to stretch, and I pitch it up by 12 again, so basically pitch it up by 15, but I wanted it to be like a really high flute. Then for the next thing, I had this other flute phrase which was out of the same pack, and I just did the same thing, basically put both on the third mixer track, and that's all I did. I just chopped it up because it wasn't really in time, so I just put it in time. That's all I did for this flute, and the finished flute is sounding like this. Then for the effects on this flute, I have this simple fruity parametric EQ where I just cut out some of the frequencies that were too harsh. Then this Valhalla vintage verb where I tweak the mix, the decay, the pre-delay and the low cut. This soothe on its default settings, I just turned off this knob and put the knob from soft to hard. And I had this EQ on there just to cut out a lot of the lows and low mids and some of the highs, because as I said, the lows weren't really needed because I had a bassline on there, and the highs were like just a little bit too harsh, so I just cut them out. Then for the next thing, I put this finisher micro on there with the infinity preset and the mix to 100%. And as you can see, it's a very like simple plugin, but it has like a crazy effect on this whole thing. And I added the scroll speed as well with the tremolo slow preset, and I just played with this right here just to make it go a little bit faster. And that's all I did. And as you can see, I just load the volume of this thing because I rendered it out, put the declicker mode to generic, the mode to stretch, and the rendered out file is sounding like this. Then for the effects on here, I just had this simple soothe, and as you can see, I basically just turn off this knob again and put the setting from soft to hard. Then this simple EQ where I just cut out one frequency that I didn't like, and this EQ where I just cut out a lot of the lows, low mids, and some of the mids, and like a little bit of the highs, just to duck it more into the background and make it not as present as it was like without the EQ. Then for the next thing, I had these two textures which are out of my Starstruck multi-kit, as you can see right here, and these are very important and the reason alone to get this kit, because textures are really important, as I said, and like perk loops, because they give the sample, as they say, so much more texture, but it's like on a level that it makes a huge difference. And as you can see, I just turned on the volume right here, put the mode to stretch and normalized it, and did the same thing again right here for the perk loop, but I think I just lowered the volume by like a little bit, and that's all I did for these textures, so they are completely ready to be dragged and dropped into your DAW, and these textures are sounding like this. And for the effects on these textures, I have this 3D parametric EQ2 where I just duck some of the lows and some of the highs. Then this EQ where I cut them out completely. Then this simple soothe on its hard setting and the depth to 4.9. And this simple 3D reverb, as you can see, I think it's on its default settings, and I turned the mix to 35%. Then for the next thing, I had this Huck Höfner bass, and I was tuned to C sharp. So again, I played with the envelope and put it like this, and put the root note to C sharp, so it is tuned to C. And as you can see, it's a very simple bass line. I just laid it down on the root note of C, or like on the note of C, because it was a root note from the synth pattern, like the first one I showed y'all. And as you can see, I lowered the volume because I didn't want it to like hit as hard as it would have hit when I had it like on the full volume. And I had these little transition notes right here, which is just this G, and that's all I did for this bass line. It's really simple, and it sounds like this. And for the effects on this bassline, I have this simple soothe on the hard setting and the depth to 9.1. This R compressor with these settings. This simple decapitator where I put the drive to about 2.5, the tone to a little bit more to dark, and the style to E. This for the fast distortion on its default settings, but the mix to 35%. This for the parametric EQ where I cut out some of the muddy lows and like just a tiny bit of the highs, and I added 100% in mono. Then for the first thing I have on my mastering chain is this Abbey Road Vinyl Stereo with this preset I can't pronounce, but I turned down the noise, the crackle, and the clicks. Then this RC20 with the Luca Could Be a Pet preset out of my, I think it's the Gold Mine or like the Starstruck multi-kit, and I basically left everything on besides the space and the digital. Then this L1 limiter stereo from Waves, which is basically just there to make the sample a little bit louder. This sound shifter pitch stereo from Waves where I pitch it up by 2 semitones. Then this FL Hyper Chorus where I had it on its default preset. I just turned the mix to 8% wet. This EQ where I just ducked some of the low frequencies like the bass frequencies, and this simple soothe on its soft setting and the depth to 3.0, and I turned off this dot right here. And now we'll show you all the sample with and without the mastering chain. So first of all, this is the sample without the mastering chain. And now this is the sample with the mastering chain. And now for the beat breakdown, the first thing I did was dragging in a sample, and I put the declicker mode to generic, the mode to stretch, and I put the trim to 100%, just that like the little empty space at the beginning goes away. The first thing I did for the beat was laying down this pretty simple hi-hat pattern, or basically dragging in the hi-hat pattern out of my MIDI section out of the Starstruck multi-kit. As you can see right here, it has 170 hi-hat MIDIs, and I picked one of them, and it's a very cool hi-hat MIDI for these type of samples, or like for these type of beats. And that's all I did for the hi-hat pattern, and it sounds like this. Then I used the Luca Late Night clap out of my Starstruck multi-kit, which you can see right here, and I just laid down the basic clap pattern, which sounds like this. And then the Luca open hat out of the kit again, and as you can see, I just laid down 4 notes to layer the 808 to make it hit even harder. And I have this Luca wrapped open hat, which always hits on the 1 and right here, and it's two very simple patterns, and both of these open hat patterns are sounding like this. And now for the 808 pattern, the only thing I did was laying down like a simple pattern on the root notes from the original sample. As you can see, it's a D because I pitched it up by 2, so it went from a C to a D. And I just used this A for like a transition note, and then at the end this A sharp to an A, just that it has like a little bit of variation. And it's a FEV 808 out of my Starstruck multi-kit again. And the 808, hi-hat and everything else together is sounding like this. So yeah guys, if you enjoyed this video, please make sure to leave a like and to subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate that, and it would really help me. And what else would help me is if you leave a comment on what y'all think of the sample, of this beat, and what you want to see as a future video. So I would really appreciate just a comment, and I don't want to keep the outro too long, so if you haven't already, please make sure to check out Lucaland, my own kit store, and the Starstruck multi-kit. And if you want to get it, make sure to use code Starstruck, everything in caps, and it will give you about $5 off. I would really appreciate that, and it would really help me, and it would help you to get better at making beats and samples. So with that being said, thank you all for supporting me, and yeah guys, see y'all.